Welcome to the Made in Iowa podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Fox, in the Iowa Everywhere studio. We've got two amazing women who are helping kids understand the importance of water quality. We are talking about water rocks, and I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did. It is super fun to have two super powerful women in the podcast studio today. I've got Erin Rollenhagen, who is the founder of People Friendly Tech, who is collaborating and has been for quite a while now with Ann Staudt. Ann is the director of Water Rocks out of Iowa State University. You guys are solving such a huge challenge for the state of Iowa, and you are doing it at a very young age. Tell us, and I'll have Ann, you start. What is Water Rocks and what is the mission?
Absolutely. Yeah, Water Rocks is a youth water education program for the state of Iowa. So it's based on campus at Iowa State, but we serve literally the entire state. And so Water Rocks is built on the idea of planting the seeds of stewardship with the next generation, reaching kids when they're young to be thinking about pertinent issues in our environment. Things like water quality, things like the land around us, soil health, wildlife, biodiversity. All those pieces are interconnected. And so if we can help students see those connections when they're young, it empowers them to be critical thinkers and take action when they're voters, when they're adults, when they're the people that are in a position of power to do so. And Water Rocks is really unique in that it's based at the intersection of science, music, and the arts all working together to engage the next generation.
Wow, that's awesome. Erin, you and I have talked over the years a lot about super professional businessy topics and the clients that you serve that might not be as creative and out-facing as Ann and her project. How fun has this been to just really put that creative brain to work?
Oh, it's been a blast. I think, this has been a favorite project for our entire team to have the opportunity to really flex those creative muscles. And one of the great things about working with the team at Water Rocks is they are creatives. They are really passionate about engaging the younger generation. And so it's really given us a lot of encouragement and license to sort of push the envelope creatively and see what we can do to keep making it better and better.
Awesome. And Water Rocks has a game. And that's really where the two of you kind of started this project, right? Is creating a game that kids would enjoy that also teaches them while they're playing.
Yep, right on.
Okay.
Yeah, the game is called Rock Your Watershed. And the premise of the game is each user has an area of land, a watershed, that's divided into 10 pieces, 10 parcels. The user then gets to make decisions about what they want to do with each of those different pieces of land. And then their choices impact the outcomes of the game. So it factors in such metrics as monetary metrics. So are you making money or not? It factors in a number of environmental metrics, water quality, which ties in sediment, soil movement. It ties in nutrients. And in later iterations of the game, we've also been able to tie in biodiversity. So the interconnections of all those pieces, how they work together, it's like there's not one perfect answer. There's always trade-offs. And that's what the game gets at. It's like empowering the user to make those choices, see what the outcomes look like, and then go back and make iterative choices to see how things change as well.
So communication had to be at its top level between the two of you and your organizations, because you're talking super sciencey stuff. And you have to make that simplified enough. What's the average age of the person playing the game?
The target audience for the game would be the upper elementary to middle school age groups. But adults love it too. That's the thing. I mean, I think that was one of the successes of this, is it's a game that can also engage adults. We've had university folks, agency folks, legislators playing the game, which is delightful. It's awesome to see that it can appeal to. It doesn't feel like it's a game that's just built for 8-year-olds. Right. It's built beyond that, and it's got a huge capacity.
Erin, you work on big, hairy projects all the time that are really hard for the average person to wrap their brain around. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about the very beginning of this project and how you unfurled the idea?
Yeah, well, this started, 12 or 13 years ago when we first started talking about it.
Yeah.
And so the initial state of the game was based on what the technology could do at that time. We knew we wanted it to be web-based so that anyone could access it without having to download something. And so we looked at what is the technology capable of today. And it's really based how we designed the game and how we structured the game around what the tech could do at that point, while still trying to kind of push the envelope of the look and feel that was possible at that time.
Wow.
You know, and we were laughing. Now we look back and it looks a little antiquated. That original version of the game, you know, looks like an 8-bit game that you would have played on your Nintendo 64 or something.
Because the current game that you see now, if you were to go to the website and check it out, this is version number 3 of the game, which is new in the last year. So yeah, a lot has changed since the very inception of the project, but it's cool to see how it's evolved, and Erin's team has been amazing with helping to guide that process.
Right.
And you've got a lot of really high-level partners that are helping you fund it. The DNR, Iowa DNR, is a pivotal partner, I'm sure, and Iowa State University Extension and Outreach. Tell us about, you mentioned the Leopold Center.
Yep.
What do they do and how do they fit into this equation?
Yeah, the Leopold Center for Sustainable Agriculture is based at Iowa State University, but they really support out-of-the-box ideas in terms of agriculture, resilience, looking at different environmental issues from the research end to the outreach end as well. And so they're very interested as well in inspiring the next generation.
Awesome.
And helping teach about some of these unique conservation practices, getting them in front of youth in a way that's really accessible. So yeah, they've been an awesome partner in supporting the game, but the larger Water Rocks program as well.
Awesome. And then you've got soil and water conservationists.
Yeah, the soil and water conservation districts across the state. So each county in the state of Iowa has their elected officials, soil and water conservation district commissioners. There's 5 in each county. And they've been amazing partners in helping to support this work reach in the next generation as well.
And I'm sure every part of the state, anybody that thinks that it is just flat agriculture is wrong.
Yeah.
If you've been over into the Western Iowa and those beautiful rolling hills.
Bluff Hills, yeah.
Right? They're gorgeous. And then you go up to Northeast Iowa and oh my gosh, those vistas are just amazing. It is not flat.
Yeah, I mean, Iowa's got such a subtle beauty to it. We don't necessarily have the dramatic mountains. We don't have the beach, but we've got a subtle beauty. Our agriculture combined with our prairies, our wetlands, timber, all those are pieces of our landscape. And yeah, it's not often the perception that we hear about, right?
Is that landscape represented in the game?
That was one of the things that was really important to us, was to really show how charming the Iowa landscape can be, especially when well cared for, and really try to capture that Iowa beauty within the look of the game as well.
So how do you use pictures as a starting point? Because you had to bring artists into this. Talk about the process, Erin.
Yeah, so we worked with Ann's team at Iowa State to understand what we truly wanted to represent, even to how winding should the river that goes through. That was a topic of discussion. Was
Right,
absolutely.
The amount of winding in that river, to what species of plants should be shown in the prairie versus the wetland, and what animals should be represented that could live in these various climates.
So you made it as accurate as could be.
Right. It was important to make it accurate so that the creative came together with the science to show an end result that was both, charming and engaging and fun for the kids, but also true and representative of what we wanted to teach them.
One of the later additions to the game too was the addition of urban areas, because our urban landscapes are ever growing in the state, and such an important piece of the puzzle too in terms of what can be done in our urban areas. And even if you're a person that lives in an urban area but are not necessarily directly connected with agriculture and how land is used, we're all taxpayers in the state, and clean water, healthy lands are something that are at stake for every single one of us. So we wanted to be representative for every single Iowan that takes a look at this.
So as you designed bits and pieces of the game, were you engaging kids to help you guide your work to prove out whether it was entertaining to them? How did that work?
Yeah, so we started with consulting with some experts on game design. And out of that, one of the things that we discovered was there was an existing character that we wanted to leverage. We knew there needed to be characters in this game. And so the team at Water Rocks had a character that was the environmentally conscious robot.
Okay.
So he was a character in the game. I don't know if I should gender the robot, but the robot was a character. But part of the advice we got when consulting with these experts is that you need a character that represents the child. And so we added an additional robot character so that the kids had somebody to identify with when they were playing the game.
Awesome.
And then as we got closer that it was an actual playable game, we actually had our employees' kids play it and give us feedback.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then we had folks on our end play it as well. We engaged different classes of students to get their feedback along. Typically, this was farther along in the process, but that final touch, and that in several cases that resulted in changes because students told us that they found certain things more engaging or less engaging. One thing that was really interesting earlier on was that female students, the earliest versions of the game did not included very little wildlife. And that was not an appealing game to many of the female students.
Oh.
When wildlife entered the picture, it was like a game changer. Seriously.
No kidding.
That became all of a sudden so much more attractive to female students by having the animal piece of the puzzle.
Wow.
So, and when we're talking, upper elementary and middle school girls, if we can get them engaged in science and current issues by incorporating animals, bring it on. I mean, that's awesome. We want to do that as much as we can, and later on, students encouraged us with this most recent iteration of the game. They gave us feedback on the sound effects and that how we could tweak it and change it to make it a more engaging experience. Those were 7th grade students.
Wow.
So I think all those pieces of the puzzle come together to help test, tweak, and make it the best it can possibly be with the budget you have available to work with.
Yeah.
So the outcomes, if we do not improve our water quality, are scary. Things like cancer, things like not being able to drink the water and getting sick, killing our animals, not having agriculture. Those consequences are dire. How did you represent those consequences if you fail the game?
Do you want to take this or do you want?
I can jump in. So the game typically represents like one growing season at a time. So I'd say that is definitely an opportunity for future work to be able to show the cumulative effect years and years and years down the road.
Okay.
So we're looking at one season, but I think one of the really cool additions to the game is that it shows the impacts. It's got 6 different, so students, players, they make all these choices on their land, what they want to do. You've got a series of menus that you work through. But the big variable, just like in real world, is rainfall. Is precipitation. And that's chance. So this is a game of choice and chance. And so that's randomized throughout the game. But as we've gone through further developments with the game, we've gone from simpler rainfall precipitation scenarios to more advanced scenarios. So for instance, right now, the game currently involves 6 different precipitation scenarios. So what I mean by that is we've got an average precipitation scenario. Okay, so long-term average for the state of Iowa. But how does that change if that rain comes at, low intensities, spread out kind of over the course of the year, versus if that over this course of the year we get that average rainfall, but it comes in several really intense bursts, some of those super intense storms. And looking at the data, working through the numbers and the science of this that changes the outcomes big time.
Wow.
Okay, so we've got average with the different intensities of rainfall. We've also got low precipitation with low intensity and high intensity.
And flooding.
High rainfall with spread out over the year or the high intensity. So there's really this large gradient of outcomes that reflect the reality and the variability that we see across our state.
And then, of course, you add derechos. Did you have to go back and update? Because we didn't have derechos before when you started this.
Yes. We got into the derecho. But I think one of my favorite things is just how it visually represents the results. So it gives them numerical scores so they can see how they did, but it also visually changes the way their little parcel of land looks depending on the choices that they made and what those outcomes are. So, the river might look clear and blue, or it might look, muddy and greenish and brackish if they have, made choices that resulted in a lot of runoff. And it also affects the biodiversity that they get. So, at the end, they get to see what animals would live in that particular plot of land. And that's affected by the choices they made. So they might only get 1 or 2 animals if they made choices that really impacted the environment. Or they might get this, lush landscape with, teeming with animals if they made choices that really optimized the environment.
Awesome. I want to get back to a conversation we had prior to turning the mics on. How did you two first start talking about this? Where did you meet and how did the magic begin?
Yeah, I think it was kind of a chance encounter. Ann and I were both at a science center event for girls in STEM and just got to talking. And, that was 2012, I think, that we first started chatting and
handed off business cards. And it was one of those, like, you kind of tuck the seed, tuck it away, seeds planted.
Yeah.
So did you have the vision already for the game?
No. I mean, I think we were just at a point of starting Water Rocks, and the game was a little ways down the road. But yeah, it was super cool that just this absolute chance encounter, but at an event promoting, girls in STEM, where we were amongst like a dozen different presenters that were just sharing what we do, different fields within science, technology, engineering, math, and how the different so many opportunities are available to young women today. So.
And your real job at Iowa State is what? And what are you trained in?
Yeah, so I direct the Water Rocks program, but that's one of several hats that I wear. So I also work with the Iowa Learning Farms program. It's a conservation outreach program working with farmers and landowners. I'm involved with different water quality research on campus as well. So yeah, my work definitely overlaps both research, extension, and outreach, all those things centered around water quality, centered around our environment. My background is in environmental engineering, but I've clearly got a passion for taking that out to the next generation, taking it out to the people. I think the science and the research and the work we do, journals and manuscripts have a place. But I love being able to take the information out to the people, whether it's young people, whether it's urban people, whether it's farmers and landowners. And I think that's something that our team has worked extensively at over the years to, find the partners that can help us do that in effective ways. But when it comes to these water quality and environmental issues, like all Iowans are at the table. So yeah, how can we engage and help people see that, how their actions make a difference?
Yeah.
All of our actions make a difference. Small things add up.
I love it. And how awesome is it that Erin is right down the road from Ames and you were able to tell a little bit about people-friendly tech and your usual work and how it dovetailed into this.
Yeah, so we're a custom app and web development firm. So we do web-based software, mobile app-based software for a variety of clients, a lot of focus in highly regulated industries, so industries that have a little extra security challenge, like insurance, employee benefits, healthcare, those sorts of industries. But we also work with clients in all sorts of other industries. The main thing that I think is a big focus for us that really dovetailed nicely with what Water Rocks was trying to do is we really focus on that end user. So what is going to make it a positive experience for them? That's why we build technology. We're trying to make people's lives better, but it's remarkable how much technology doesn't actually do that.
Amen.
Makes people frustrated. So, our goal is to make every experience a positive experience and a positive interaction with technology and work with our clients to really move their organizations forward with technology.
So you're on your 3rd version of the game. Are there future versions coming?
We'll see if there's funding available for that.
Yeah. That's a big question mark, isn't
right
it?
now,
Right now.
We're still basking in the excitement of the newest, latest, greatest. The third version came out just under a year ago. So.
Okay. So you're not even a year old. So that's in the future. But the game isn't the only aspect of Water Rocks. Talk about the entire program and how the game fits into that ecosystem.
Yeah. So Water Rocks, statewide youth water education program. We're reaching out to young people, to stakeholders across the state in several ways. So several of the key outreach mechanisms we deploy include, one of the biggest ones, probably our signature offering, is we're going into schools and we're offering no cost, highly interactive, hands-on classroom presentations to students to engage with them directly, one-on-one, one class at a time.
Awesome.
Getting environmental issues in front of them, learning what watersheds are, learning about some of the water challenges we face, but also positive action items that we can do to make a difference. We're so big on that of, yes, we face challenges, and there's a ton we can do, the cumulative effect of all of our actions. So definitely outreach directly to students through those school presentations is a biggie. We also work directly with teachers. So each summer we host an interactive workshop, the Water Rocks Summit, where we bring educators in from around the state. So essentially we're building a cohort of teachers that helping to boost their knowledge of different environmental and agricultural issues, and then sending them home with hundreds of dollars activity kit of all original games, activities that they can then put to use in their classrooms. So we can go in and do presentations, but then they can also help to convey that information to their classes year after year after year. And then, as I mentioned earlier, music and the arts are a big part of what we do. So we've got songs, we've got an awesome library of music videos. Awesome. So it's engaging different parts of students' minds. Yep. Different ways,
and that's how they memorize things.
And that's actually a lot of funny, but it ties back into how Water Rocks all started. So back in the day, Schoolhouse Rock.
Yeah.
So many of us learned concepts or memorized concepts.
I'm just a bill. Yes.
Right? So music is powerful. And that's one of the big premises that unites Water Rocks, is that science doesn't stand on its own.
Awesome.
Music and the arts help tie it all together. It can help us learn concepts, remember concepts, put pieces together. So we've got these videos available for students to explore on their own, for teachers to be able to show, and beyond.
You had to, when you started, have a goal or a vision to impact X number of students, or was there a goal that you had that you can look back now over 10 years, almost 15 years in the making? What is that thing that you're most proud of moving the dial on?
This was a goal that evolved as the years went on, but I am most proud of the fact that our team, our small team, so we're a team of 6 people. And then in the summer, we bring on student interns as well. So an internship program to engage college students. But our team has been to every single public school district in the state of Iowa. And that's a goal that emerged over time.
And that's not a small number, by the way.
It's not. That's in the 320s. But we've been to every single school district, and that's something that we're super proud of, sharing the love around the state. This is not just a program for Ames and for Des Moines and Waukee and Ankeny. It's a school for every corner of the state, and we want to be reaching students in every corner of the state.
If you had a magic wand that you could wave and do anything with this program, if money was not an object, what would you do?
Public ad campaign.
Okay.
Media campaign about water quality, about these really serious and timely environmental issues. Yeah.
And you talked about the little specific things that we can do. I think that this audience would probably benefit from knowing what those are, not just the kids in the schools. What are some of those things?
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to our water quality in the state of Iowa, one of the biggest challenges, a couple of the biggest challenges our state faces are in regards to, so first of all, soil or sediment. major contributor to our water quality issues. And yet it's one of our greatest, soil is one of our greatest natural resources, right? So it's kind of this double whammy of if we lose soil from our land, it gets in our water, and we've got trouble on all fronts. So keeping our soil protected, keeping our soil covered through conservation farming practices like no-till. So farmers purposely leaving the stalks, leaving the residue out in the field in the fall. It provides, think of it essentially like a blanket over the winter to help protect that ground. Practices like cover crops. So cover crops are planted in the fall to help bridge the gap when we don't normally have things growing out on our land. Essentially extends that growing season.
Sure.
So a typical, probably the most common cover crop you would see across the state is cereal rye. When you drive by a green grassy field in November, or in March or April,
I have always wondered. Thank you.
That's cereal
What
rye.
is that?
Yeah, so that was planted purposely by the farmer to help protect the land in the off season between the corn and the soybeans. They're not going to harvest it. It's out there.
It just gets tilled in?
So most of the time it gets terminated by using an herbicide, which the farmer would be using already before the beginning of the season for weed control. So it's not any added chemical usage. So typically it's going to be killed then shortly before planting the next year's crop. So yeah, those are a couple things on the agricultural front. Nutrients are a huge one, and that's where, cover crops can help to retain those nutrients. Another big thing is the use of what we call edge of field conservation practices. But one of the best ones that works amazingly in our state is the use of wetlands. So we're kind of returning to our roots. We were a state of prairie and a state of wetlands. Wetlands can do amazing work when they're strategically placed to help with our nitrate challenge. Strategically placed wetlands can transform of the water. When water comes into a wetland, they can transform and reduce the amount of nitrate leaving by about 50%.
Wow.
That's huge, right?
Huge.
So for strategic areas of land that are lower producing on the agricultural front, and they make sense for a wetland, that can have huge impacts and bang for the buck in terms of that water then being cleaned before it moves downstream, before it becomes drinking water for communities further down the line.
Wow.
So those are a few things on the agricultural front. And, when we tell students as well, and this, whether you're in Des Moines, whether you're in town or out in the country, pet waste is a big one that we all can do something about. Picking up after our dogs.
Yeah.
Easy. Quick and easy. Yep.
Yeah.
Bag it up, throw it away.
Not that hard.
Not that hard. Exactly.
Erin, you have made a game. Well, 3 games now. Are there other clients that you're working on gaming with?
Actually, Water Rocks is our only game client. We would love to do more games. Our team had a great time with it. It's not the right choice for every situation, but for an educational situation, I think it's a great use of the technology. And really what we can do today, as compared with what we could do when we first started, is so remarkably different. The latest iteration of the game is 3D, and it's interactive, and the graphics feel a lot more modern and detailed and up to date. So I think it's a lot more engaging, and there's a lot of potential there.
Well, and I think about all of the areas that we need to be educating our kids on, these important areas like personal finance, communication skills. If we could gamify all of those topics, I think the opportunity to really impact these kids would be so much greater. So everybody, call Erin.
She's amazing to work with.
She can make a game for you and make it fun for our kids. So anything else you want the audience to know?
Our water quality issues they're timely, they're real, and they're not going away. So I think the more each one of us knows about and can learn about water quality here locally, the impacts to our drinking water, the impacts to our well water, the impacts to our recreation.
Oh, yeah.
Are huge. So think about what you can do individually yourself, your household, and mobilizing in your local community. So small actions all add up. And that's why a big reason why we're engaging the next generation to help plant those seeds now.
Well, the greatest legacy we can leave
Absolutely.
is a healthy ecosystem.
Yeah.
And so this is the foundation of that
Yeah.
ecosystem.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. And the website again is?
The base website for the Water Rocks program is waterrocks.org. And then from there, you can connect with finding information about school programs, about the Water Rocks Summit, and of course, the Rock Your Watershed game, which also has its own website if you want to go directly there. It's rockyourwatershed.org.
Very cool. And because of the funding challenges that you have right now, is there an opportunity for the listeners to give to Water Rocks?
Yeah, Lisa, there is. That's awesome. So on the Water Rocks website, we do have a donate button. So we are able to accept contributions in partnership with the Iowa State University Foundation. So Water Rocks does have a fund there, which is an amazing way to help ensure that this program can keep moving forward with things available. So the school programs, the game, all these things available at no cost to students, to teachers across the state. So all gifts are awesome, large or small. Yeah, absolutely. It all helps to help,
Keep it
carrying
going.
on. Yep,
Yeah,
exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
Well, I absolutely love this. Thank you so much for coming in today. And as you do have updates, please, you've always got a welcome seat here. So thank you for coming in.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you for tuning in to Made in Iowa. Subscribe, like, and share wherever you listen. Catch episodes weekly from the Iowa Everywhere studio on the BPC streaming network.